Owen Mahoney. He is the current president and CEO at Nexon, joining us live from Tokyo this morning. Good morning to you, Owen. Big announcement. You're stepping down. Why? What's next for you and Nexon?
Well, we had, as you mentioned, a fantastic quarter. Current games are performing extremely well. You know, we've done something that nobody thought we could, even in the remotest imaginations, that we could pull off, which is to make our largest virtual worlds last and grow for a very, very long time. MapleStory was up 46% year over year globally, and that's in its 20th year. And we also have the strongest pipeline of our history and possibly of the entire games industry. As you mentioned, the finals just came out of beta, and we plan to launch it before the end of the year. It had an absolutely fantastic beta period. We had 7.5 million downloads, and the feedback from players was almost universal acclaim. So this is a great time to pass the torch to the next generation. It's been 10 years for me. I've had an incredible run. I have had a wonderful time with the team, and I'm very blessed because we have a fantastic next generation of people to manage our performance into the next level.
So with your departure and with the next leader being a Korean market expert, what does that mean for the Korean market? Perhaps it was a strategic selection because that Nexon has been coming out on top for a while. Would that lead to some kind of acquisition of a smaller player in somewhat of a poorer financial conditions in order for Nexon to grow more?
Well, we've always believed that our opportunity is not just in Korea, but it's around the world. And it's important to keep in mind that the strategy that we have put in place that has been working, you and I have talked about this for a while, and that we've been explaining to shareholders for the last several years, that strategy didn't spring solely from my brain. That was a result of a lot of hard work and a lot of collaboration. That whole strategy was architected by the entire team, including Jung-hun. And so we think that the industry is very dynamic, so that strategy can evolve, but we don't see any change in that strategy, certainly in the near term. It's something that we all put together as an executive team.
And just to touch on the industry trend, one local media report, local as in Korea, a media reporter was reporting this morning how the Korean game sector is shifting to consoles, given sort of this market falls in mobile segment. And of course, the Nexon is set to release Dave the Diver for Nintendo Switch. Is that the trend that the industry is looking at right now?
Well, I think a lot of companies are searching for some place to find growth, and that's not. And so previously it was mobile, now maybe it's console. We think that there's a lot of opportunity in console. We had a very successful, as I mentioned, beta of the finals, and that was also on console. We have more products that are on console. We don't think that's the answer, though, for growth. We think that the industry doesn't have enough innovation, and it doesn't have enough new types of gameplay. And yet, over and over again, when you show that you can bring innovation to the market, there is fantastic results that come from gamers. Gamers are looking for innovation and for new things to play. And they applaud you when you try to do something new and you deliver it, something that's really fun. It really boils down to not much more than that.
And speaking of innovation, let's talk about AI. We cannot not talk about AI in this conversation. And I want to talk about a potential AI moat in the game industry, because I know you've been saying that this would democratize game development and it would sort of take away the bureaucratic chores and so on, and really let developers focus on the development part of it. But would that also create that moat where the industry leaders come out stronger and better because they have the financial capacity to grow more, put down more cash to achieve more growth thanks to AI, when smaller players cannot really afford to?
Well, there's a couple different things that you're hitting on there that I think are very interesting. You know, the big leaders who are providers of AI tools, there is a lot of controversy, especially in Silicon Valley, but it's now flowing around the world about whether the early creators of AI are trying to pull up the drawbridge through regulation of AI, and I think that's a very, very hot topic and a very important topic. For us, though, we see as game developers, AI allows game makers an incredible tool to automate the stuff that they've had to do by hand for years. You know, game development for a AAA game can often run hundreds or even into the thousands of people over a period of years. That is just not sustainable to continue to go up at the trend line that it has. When we put out the finals beta, we reminded people that the finals has been created by a team of under 100 people. And some of that is AI tools, some of that is just other software tools. We think game developers can get closer to the development process of making a game, to iterating and to being creative, which is why they got in the games industry in the first place. And they don't want to be HR managers. They don't want to be factory workers. They don't want to manage a group of 1,000 developers. They want to build great games. And the great news is there's tons of new software tools that enable us to bring a AAA game to market with less than 100 people. That's a revolution in our industry, and that's the larger piece that we are watching very, very closely. And that's the part that we have been investing in. You know, we ignored a lot of the metaverse stuff and a lot of VR stuff, and we put our investment into software tools that enable that. So we think that's a very important trend.
Owen, thank you so much for joining us this morning, especially on the back of that big announcement. That was, of course, Owen Mahoney, President and CEO of Nexon.